What a beauty that is. 3.5 litre V8, that's the saloon version. It is a magnificent Austin Ford Granada there. Lovely Wolseley 1500 there, slightly wider steel wheels on it. Nice. All the way from Crewe originally. Mark III version of the Bedford CA van. Wow. Couple more BMC beauties there. We have a Morris 8 Series 1, Jaguar Mark V. Not entirely sure what we're looking at there. Super 2 litre Vitesse convertible. Now here's a really rare one. This is a Lancia Appia.
And then approximately about 1 o'clock we're going to be having lunch.
Standard end sign. Isn't that just stunning? At least the plugs are nice and easy to get at on the side there. And the hot rodded Dodge is heading in the same direction. Right, let's carry on along the row. Here is the Simca 1100. And this is an immaculate W123 saloon. Well, the first of today's completely non-essential purchases is this little dinky. Well, here we are folks, Thoresby Park, and there it's Thoresby Hall just over there. So today I'll be parking up over down there. Of course, last time when we came to Capesthorne for one of the Classic Shows events, we were in the V8 Pilot, but this was just a little bit too far to bring that, so we're in the Jaguar. Well, I say we, I'm in the Jaguar, I'm solo today, but yeah, I'm in the Jag today, so let's go and park up over next to the Escort Cosworth. Well, there we go, all parked up for the day. I'm sure this field will fill up significantly. We are still quite early today, so let's go and have a look, see some of the cars as they arrive here at Thoresby Hall. First bagel of the day has been deployed. What should be the first car I clap eyes on when I was driving in this morning, but this stunning little A40 Mark II, the Austin A40 Farina Saloon. Slightly later than our Mark I, but not by much because it's still on a non-dating registration, so probably about 1961, thereabouts. Beautiful example, some great badges on the front there as well, but quite unusual now to see an A40 at any of the shows that we get to, so when one does pop up, well, I'll always make a beeline straight for it. Throaty burble of the MG RV8. Morning. Good, no Rover today.
No Rover today. We're in the 80s.
Oh yes, yeah. Well, I'm in the 90s more or less. I'm in the Jag today, so you'll see it over there. I'll catch up with you later. Cheers. Oh, I had a lengthy chat with those two here last year. They were in their Rover P6. MGB GT follows Audi TT. Cars to the left, cars to the right. They come at you from two different directions here, so you really have to keep your wits about you. Spot of moped action here, a Batavus and a Honda. Lotus XL followed by Sierra Cosworth and XR2 Mark II. As always, I'll try and feature a little bit of everything here today at the show we're at, but obviously prioritising some of the slightly older cars because that's really what the channel is all about. But yeah, if your car is featured, please pop a note in the comments, say hello. If I missed you out, well, sorry about that. I'll try and get in as many cars as I possibly can, but oftentimes it's just not possible to feature every single car, but I try my best. Lovely old Sunbeam Talbot purring into view. It's one of the open top cars, the Alpines. What a beauty that is. Isn't that stunning? Lovely car, 3.5 litre V8, that's the saloon version. It's got the optional rear headrests as well. Very colourful Jaguar. And another very colourful Jaguar. And another. I saw a whole gaggle of Capris parking up at a lay-by just a few miles from here, so I figured they were all getting together to arrive en masse as a club. And here they are. That's quite a rare Capri too. Couple of gems from the 1970s here, the Triumph Stag, the 3 litre V8, that one a manual, and an early 70s Marina Coupe. Just don't know what's going to come next. Here a pair of Toyota MR2 Mark IIs. A stunning Jaguar there in a very dark green metallic. Next interview we have a Ford Sierra XR 4x4, the V12 Jaguar XJS, followed by a Porsche 944 in black, and a 635 CSI BMW in white, and another MR2 Mark II. Now, what do we have here? I'm going to have to wait for it to get a little bit closer before I am sure. It is a magnificent Austin 12. What a fantastic car that is. Great to see some pre-war car action at the shows that we get to, and more of that please. If you're watching this and you have a pre-war car, let's see it at some of these shows that we get to do videos of. Here we have a Vauxhall Calibra, followed by an Aston Martin DB7. Escorts are arriving. Mark IV XR3 a cabriolet, and that's at the Mark 6 MGF roof down. That's what we like to see. A little Peugeot 106 and a magnificent Ford Granada there. What a great car that is. 3 litre power, early SLK, and our favourite colour. And behind the Fiat van we have a lovely little Austin Healey Sprite Mark II. Or could it be a 3? It's got wind up windows. Barney little Mini next. MGTF. And behind that an MGB GT V8. And an MGC GT. Nice one. While coming from our left we have a GMC day van. And another stream of cars coming from my right. M100 series Lotus Elan. I can see something on my left. Beamer Mark III Triumph GT6 and a Chevette HSR, and a lovely Mini behind that. And we just nip over here to see another Morris Mini Minor. And another Morris Mini Minor over there. Oof. Cars coming at me from all angles. Very fruity Mini there. We've got a Mark II Astra GTE, 3.5 litre Rover P6 in tobacco, that colour I think. One of the BRM series Rover 200s. Honda NSX, as approved of by Senna no less. And a P100 pickup, one of the Sierra era Ford P100s, and a little Toyota Corolla behind that. Great little TR4. The Vauxhall Monaro, big V8 engine based on the Australian Holden Monaro. Quite an early maxi there. Morning. Little Polo behind that. A lovely standard there, an Ensign I think that is, 1964. Base model version of the Vanguard Phase 3, the Ensign. I'm sure that's what that was. Great XR3 there on the carburettor as opposed to the fuel injected XR3i. Triumph Dolomite there. Spitty 1500 here. Very nice too. Got a Wolseley Hornet here. By heck, they're really flying in now. Mercedes SL. The R107 MGB GT, a lovely bright red one, a great Morris 1000 here from about 70 or 71, and an MX5. Lovely Wolseley 1500 there, slightly wider steel wheels on it. That's immaculate, it's very, very nice too. An E46 M3. Whew, where did they all come from? I can hear straight cut gears. That can only mean one thing, usually, and it's a Mini, a 1964 Morris Mini Minor. What a lovely little car that is. Hey, that's a cracker. Here, a bright red 7 Series Beamer, one of the E38 era of 7 Series BMW. That's an Alpina modified one. We've got a Mark III MX5 here. Normally I'd be here in our MX5, and another Mercedes-Benz SL, the R107 series. Normally I would be here in our bright yellow Mark I, but today it's the turn of the Jaguar. It's a little bit comfier on these longer trips. Got a little Fiat coming in from the right. Another Granada, slightly earlier one. It's a 2-door as well, and a 4-door behind that. And another Mark 1 behind that. Quite a gaggle of those here now. And there's that lovely little Fiat. I think there's a lovely Chevy Bel Air. Now, I can only see it from the front, but I've got a feeling this is a station wagon. Yes, it is. And a stunning thing that is. XJS convertible. Whole load of modern Jaguars just came in. What's this bike? What a stunning old Indian bike. Look at this fantastic Mercedes van. How cool is that? 1965. What a cracking little van that is. A Chevy Apache truck behind that. Second Capri 2 of the day, followed by Mercedes 190E. Ooh, Silver Shadow 2. Nice. All the way from Crewe originally. Behind that, a Celica convertible. And McLaren. We have a Ludlow Green, I suspect. Fantastic little Ford Pop 103E, or in fact is it an Anglia with the chrome bumper? But the small headlights, I'm not quite sure. Looks a bit like an Anglia. Ford Escort RS 2000. Second Calibra of the day. Great little Mark 1 Fiesta. So many Fords here today. And Ford powered, but definitely not a Ford. And with trailer, a Reliant Scimitar GTE, one of the SE6 versions. Lovely shiny wheels on that. Little Rover Cabrio. SLK follows MGB, mighty Cadillac. TR6 follows the much modified Minor. And here we have a Series 3 V12 E-Type 2+2. Super little moggy Minor. TVR Cerbera. What do we have next here at Thoresby Park? It is a Rover P6. Lovely colour, that one as well. 3.5 litre V8 tinted glass. And the Tobacco 2000 TC version behind that. A Vauxhall Nova Swing Edition. Remember those when they came out. Holden, BM Z4, Lotus XL. Ooh, what do we have here? Mark III version of the Bedford CA van. That's on a G plate. How cool is that? Great little Mini behind that. A Mini pickup, 95. Oh, look at the Dodge. Half-ton Dodge. 39 to 47 era Dodge. A bit shinier than ours. But yeah, it's the first time I've seen one other than ours. Mark 1 XR2. The Vauxhall Senator behind that. Vauxhall VX220. Yeah, I'll definitely have a closer look at that Dodge later. Ooh, lovely pre-war Rolls Royce gliding in. Series 2 E-Type Coupe, the 4.2 litre Series 2, and the super rare Morris Cowley behind that. Porsche Boxster. Here we have a Transit, but it's not the Transit that intrigues me, it's what's on the back of it. Ooh, look at that. Wow. Lovely pre-war Triumph, I think, with those two-piece rear window. Very low VW Corrado VR6 version. Ooh, Ford Cortina Mk2 1600E, circa 1970, I would have thought. Little Lotus there, the little Elise. The Elan M100 behind it, the front wheel drive Elan. Mark III Zodiac, keep out of the way. Got a lightweight Land Rover here. The second E38 of the day. Triumph Spitfire Mark IV. And a TR7 drop head behind that. They all seem to arrive in waves. A very, very low bay window V-dub. Defender behind that. Sunbeam Tiger. 1967, our favourite colour. And a 66 MGB Roadster behind that. Mark 1 Golf GTI, left-hand drive. The second TR7 drop head, a little three-wheeler. Is this a Morgan? Series 2A Land Rover. Ford Granada on an X-registration. The Mark 1 Golf, a very tidy one in blue. 16 valve badge on the grille. Very chunky Land Rover. A Metro 310 van. That's pretty cool. Another great little three-wheeler here. Somewhat modified Pop or Anglia. An 85 Capri behind that. And a Beamer bringing up the rear. I tell a lie, there is now an SLK at the end of this line. Series 2 E-Type. Very nice too, circa 1971. 2+2. Good morning. Here's a car you don't see very often, a little Fiat 128. Ford Cougar. Lotus Esprit, headlight up. Great little rear engine Skoda. We'll make that 2 rear engine Skodas. Whole gaggle of Mark II Cortinas over there. MGTF. Cortina Lotus, followed by 1600E, I think. Escort. The Mark II, got a Porsche 928 over here. Splendid. A great little A35 down there. Is it a van or is it a Countryman? It's a van with added windows. Very nice too. Lovely early Wolseley 1500 there in maroon. We've got a gaggle of BMWs coming in. Scimitar GTE. Riley Elf. Great selection of Mark II Cortinas here today. Several RS2000s as well. Huge assortment of Triumph Stags now arriving. Also quite a few Scimitars. Spot of off-roading there. Super Mark I Zephyr Zodiac there. We do like that. Another Aston DB7. One of the S-Series TVRs. Yep, they're really flooding in now. Daimler V8 250. Quite the variety of cars coming now. Mini, VW over there, the split window van, got a Mustang over there, V8 Rover P6 to the left, and all sorts behind that. Super little twin cam Alfa Romeo Giulia saloon there. Well, I do like that. Very burbly 3500S, the manual gearbox version of the V8 P6.
This van's going to come down to Newcastle.
Over here we have the Chrysler Crossflyer, based on the early Mercedes SLK, little Hyundai there, and an MGB Roadster, this time with rubber bumpers. There's a blast from the past, same colour as the A40 Somerset I used to have many years ago. Couple more BMC beauties there. Another early Wolseley 1500, this one all over in black, looking immaculate on this September morning. Behind that, mid-50s Morris Oxford, a two-tone Morris Oxford, what a rarity that is. Yeah, it's not very often you see one of those. That's the Oxford. We saw a Cowley before, so it's great to have a matching pair. The Oxford was a slightly higher market, upper market version of the two cars, but otherwise very similar, both B-series powered. Little Daihatsu Charade Turbo there, quite a rarity. Little Sunbeam over there. 7 Series, that's the third E38. Same colour as the one that Dad had many years ago. Mark II Vauxhall Astra GTE over there, with a bay window VW in its rear view mirror. A very tidy GTE that one, and there is the bay window VW camper. About 1970-ish, 71 maybe. Super little Morris Traveller with a very distinctive registration, TS14. Look at that Simca 1100 behind that. Spot of steam coming out from the overflow. It's a fair bit of queuing to get in, I think, but you don't see those too often. I remember seeing a nice one of those at the North Wales Classic Car Show a year or two back. Yeah, very rarely seen, especially in this country. Beautiful old Velocette there. Sounds fantastic. Big single with a fishtail exhaust. Somewhat drowned out by the Burberry TVR Griffith right behind it. And here, beautiful matchless, just behind said TVR. Yep, they're really pouring in now. Beautiful red Triumph TR6. Morris 1000 there of the late 50s or the beginning of the 1960s, and that one's for sale. We've got a Ford here, much lowered Ford pickup, probably V8. Whether it's the original V8, I do not know, but yeah, it's certainly hugging the ground, that one. Pair of TFs. Of course, the TF name originally dates back to the 1950s with a car that came along immediately prior to the MGA, but the old name badge was dusted off for the revised MGF, of which we've seen several examples here today. And here we've got a replica AC Cobra. The original AC Cobra was based on the AC Ace, originally had the 260 cubic inch and then the 289 Ford engine, and later the 427. There's a 66 Land Rover Series 2A, I suspect. Long wheelbase, is that the 109? I think it probably is. Great Capri 2.8 there. A lovely Ford pickup of the late 1970s. A 55 Chevy Bel Air, the two-door. Yeah, what a cracker that is. It's that very Burberry Ford pickup you can hear over there. Much quieter, the Bel Air behind that. Lovely car that, isn't that fantastic? Yeah, a bit of everything here today. We've got a Celica, a 2-litre GTI 16. Another stunning Mark II Cortina. You can see some lovely original interior in that one. We'll have a walk around the cars a little bit later once they're all parked up. Fiat 126 behind that, with a much earlier registration. Presumably that started out live on a much earlier car, 759 EHK. And behind that, I suspect we have a Pontiac. We do indeed. Welsh registered Pontiac, circa 1966. Mark IV Escort Cabriolet behind that. And behind the TF we have a GMC version of the Chevy 3100. The same cab as the half-ton Chevy 3100, but this is the GMC version, but very, very similar really. This one is quite modified, but looks really original paint. Lots of these really do have some great patina on them. Trucks are either really, really patinated or immaculate, and I tend to go with the patinated ones myself. Another great little bay window there. Wolseley 1500, we've seen several of those today, and that's great to see. Great to see as many 50s cars as we can. We've got a Triumph TR5 here, a fuel injected straight six 2.5 litre, same as the TR6 that came later. Z3 BMW, we used to have a 2.8 one of those, and a two-door Mark II Cortina over there with a whole gaggle of motorcycles, and indeed a trike behind it. BSA, Triumph, modern Triumph, something else. There's a Morgan pursuing the VW. Great little moggy there, four-door Morris 1000. We like a bit of four-door action. Our 129 era of Mercedes-Benz SL. We have a Panther behind that. I couldn't believe how many left-hand drive ones of these we saw on our little trip to France recently. If you recognise that centre section, well, it's from the MG Midget, including the doors and the screen. Behind that we have a much modified Anglia. We see this one around a fair bit. And over there, Sierra Cosworth. 260Z Datsun behind that. I love the straight six sound of that. That's really, really tasty. And a very, very burbly Spitfire. It's badged as a 1500. It sounds really nice, that does. Two classic Porsches, an immaculate 944 and an equally shiny 928 behind that. A front engine V8 car. Originally the idea was to replace the 911, but that never happened. Ooh, two pre-war gems now. We have a Morris 8 Series 1 four-door saloon. We like that, the Series 1s with the spoked wheels and the chrome radiator surround. And behind that a gorgeous Rover P2. I'm guessing that's a 10. Is that a 10? Can't quite see, but yeah, what a beauty that is. I do like those a lot, the Rover P2. These were built either side of the Second World War, but a real quality car. Yeah, we do like that. And like I said before, it's great to see some of these pre-war and pre-war designed but post-war built cars here today at Thoresby Hall. Yeah, fantastic. Our Ferrari inspired sporty number there with a 190E Mercedes behind that. Mark 1 MX5 behind that. Make that two Mark 1s. It's great to see that. A TVR Griffith over here. And a Wolseley 1660 from 1967. Ooh, I like a bit of BMC Farina action. There we go. I wonder if we'll see any of the estates here today. The Austin Countryman and the Morris Traveller versions of the Farinas. But yeah, that's a lovely Wolseley that is. I used to have one of these, like a grey sort of colour and brown lower half. Slightly odd colour combination, but it did look quite nice. Very comfy car as well. Behind that's an ADO 16 Austin 1100 Mark II and a Vauxhall Victor F-Type. It's one of the revised cars. The early ones had the exhaust poking out through the rear bumper corner. MX-5's old, and somewhat newer. It's that little Daewoo. There's a 2CV, MGB GT V8, and the lovely MGB GT behind that on wires, and I can just see a fixed head MGA behind that. Quite a few MGs coming in now. Second P6 of the day in that tobacco sort of shade of brown. I'm sure they call that tobacco. 3.5 or 3005 as they used to refer to them. We've got a yellow stag, yeah, great colour. One of the later golf-based Beetles. A VW over there. Another one there with the one half of the windscreen open for a bit of added ventilation. Oh, that's great, that is, I like that. SLK and another VW behind that. I'll make that 2 VWs behind that. And here we have MGB Roadster with a recessed grille. And behind that, magnificent Riley RM Saloon, the 1.5 litre car. Very swish indeed. Over here, oof, another V8 Jaguar. This one looks like it could be an XJR, if the grille is anything to go by, but saying that, we've got an XJR grille on ours. Yeah, sounding sweet. Beautiful two-tone Rover P4 here. Late Mustang, you don't see too many of those around. Super little Frog Eye Sprite Mark 1, you can never see too many of those. Very sweet little car indeed, I do like that. Originally based on the A35 running gear, with a few minor tweaks and twin SUs. Good morning. Skoda Favourite Estates, the Flare Line Limited Edition. Wow. That's not something you trip over every day of the week now. And it has proper Skoda mud flaps on the back as well, so we like a bit of that. And there's a 205 GTI in front of that, it's one of the 1.9 cars. Stunning Porsche over here, the rear engine cooled Porsche. I think that's a 912. It's on a 65 registration. It's a 911. You live and learn. A Celica GT behind that. And a Mazda RX-7, a rotary engined RX-7, one of the Mark 1 cars. XJS convertible here, very nice too, lovely colour. We've got an MR2 slightly later one. Oh, there's still quite a few cars coming in. And a classic Range Rover here, try not to trip over. Try not to get in anyone's way. Jaguar Mark 5. That's one of those sort of cars from the sort of late 40s, early 50s era that you very, very rarely see. So we definitely like a bit of that. Yeah, what a swish looking car that is. Neat little Metro there, and behind that, quite an early Triumph Vitesse Saloon. Wonderful 6-cylinder sounds emanating from under that bonnet. What a great looking car that is. We do like that. That sounds fantastic. And look at this, a little Morris Z van. Wow, loads of these were used by the GPO, and in fact it's got the rubber wings on it, so that's an ex-GPO one. And it's also got the carriage door handles, so that was a GPO thing as well. But yeah, the original rubber wings, front and rear. That is nice to see, that is. And you can see also the little grids just in the back doors as well. That was a GPO thing. Wow, never seen that before. Lightweight Land Rover there. Jaguar behind that. Two more rotaries. We've got an RX-7 convertible. Wow. Another Mark 1 RX-7 behind that. Very nice colour. I like the colour of that. Yeah, it's rare to see one RX-7. But to see, well, I think we've seen 3 so far. So that's good. Porsche looks like it means business. A lovely notchback Mustang behind that. Nice green. Not quite sure what that is. Answers on a postcard. I'm sure my youthful assistant will probably recognise that. Looks like a special import job. Let's go and have a look around the back, see if there's any clues. If in doubt, it's got a Toyota badge on the back. So what's that, a Sora perhaps? I don't know. Healy 3000. There we go. Nice early one. We do like that. Mark 1 Escort behind that as well. Very, very tasty. Here's an oddball Japanese car. I'm not entirely sure what we're looking at there. Looks like a Toyota of some description. Yeah. Wow, that's rare, that is. TVR 450 SE. Another 7 Series behind that. Where all these 7 Series come from? I haven't seen any of the, not seen any of the previous E32 shape ones yet. Quite a few E38s. Whisper Quiet. Early cowhorn bumper Volvo P1800S, one of the Jensen bodies cars from 1965. The field is definitely filling up a bit now. Ooh, we've got a bit of auto jumble. This wasn't here before. Ooh, we like a bit of auto jumble. Anything we need, anything we don't need. Astra Cabriolet by Bertoni. Bonnie little Micra behind that. Another 3 Series, one of the E46 BMW 3 Series, 4-door saloon. And behind the MGTF over there, we've got a 124 Series E-Class Estate. It's one of the mildly facelifted cars with a slightly smaller grille compared to the earlier S124 Estates. But yeah, really well built cars those are. I've had a few of those. Here we've got a replica of the old C-Type Jaguar, or the XK120C as it was officially known. Triumph motorcycle sidecar combo. And a lovely BSA, the Birmingham Small Arms. Mark II Austin Mini. That's followed by a J-type Bedford truck. Maybe a J1 or a J2. Late 1960s. Fiat X19, styled by Bertoni. One of the 02 series BMWs of the 1970s, probably a 2002. But there's also the 1502 and the 1602. Yeah, that's the 2002. One of the revised cars with slightly different backlights. Earlier ones were circular. Could that be a TVR? Oh, it is. Big chunk of stateside fiberglass here. A great Corvette Stingray. Bedecked with many motoring badges. Great little midget behind that. Little Morris van there. Little booted Astra, presumably a Belmont. I think they just call them Astra Saloons by that point in time. Somewhat modified Porsche 914 here. Extra arches. Engine in the tail. Neat little Fiesta behind that. Triumph Stag. Morris Traveller. And the Allegro. Very original looking, quite an early Allegro as well. Love the BL mud flaps. This was a one-off car, designed and built by the gentleman driving it. I had a chat to him last year. Note the Volvo rear lamps on it, but what an incredible aircraft-inspired creation. This really is something.
Oh, right.
Bit more British Leyland magic heading our way. We've got an Allegro here, another fairly early example. And behind that, the Morris Marina, a Morris Marina pickup no less. That's a fairly lesser spotted vehicle nowadays. Most of these got worked to death and run into the ground, but that's a rare beast. The Mark IV Escort Cabriolet. Super 2-litre Vitesse convertible. Particularly wide looking Lambo. There's the Alpine, the V6 turbo version of the GTA. CV Charleston. Second Silver Shadow 2 of the day. Quite a few of these SLKs are appearing now at some of the classic car shows we get to. Same for the Minis. There's a little Smart Roadster over there. Behind this little Smart, we have an MG CGT. Very distinctive bump in the bonnet on those. Moggy convertible. The Volvo 480 ES. MGF. And some motorcyclists. Next up we have a Marcos. And a Sierra XR4i. P38 Range Rover parking up in the public car parking area. Vauxhall VX220, number 2 of the day. A TVR Tasman. 280i, but close. The much modified Bedford CF here. Custom car used to be full of vans like that modified back in the 1970s. Rover 600. Hey, look at this great little Bedford. Is it a Beagle? Some of these were called Bedford Beagles. Can't see a Beagle badge, but fantastic. The Mark III Ford Zephyr, the mighty Ford Zephyr. Now here's a really rare one. This is a Lancia Appia. Great little front engine V4 powered car. TR5. What a great soundtrack. Old 70s Merc S-Class. 65 Morris convertible over there. Now we've got a W123 series Mercedes. Well, I say W, it's actually a C123, the coupe version. Very sleek indeed. And behind that, another V8 Jaguar. Ooh, I'm in good company today. It's a Series 1 E-Type Roadster. I'll get out of the way now. Plymouth Prowler. MG Midget 1500. And behind that we have a slightly earlier MG Midget. That one will be A series powered, inline 4-cylinder engine. Oh, I say that, but it's on the T-plate, so I wonder if it's been retrofied. It's a round arch midget anyway. And there's a Lambo over there. Loud Lambo, somewhat more serene. There's this XJRS Jaguar, one of the Jaguar Sport Jaguars. I haven't seen one of those for a while. That's quite cool. And behind that, Ford Fiesta Mark II. The Vauxhall Astra GTE Mark I now comes into the grounds here at Thoresby Park. And that is a really rare sight now, way rarer than its contemporary rival, the XR3i. There seem to be way fewer of those around now. What do we have here? The Renault 25. By heck, it's a while since I've seen one of those here in the UK. I hear 2CV engine. Vauxhall Viva HC. Right, let's go back and have a brew, eh? Trio of Triumphs coming in now, headed by the Mark III GT6.
But we don't have much action, except it's always lovely to see the cars drive into the arena and line them up and we have a chat to people. So approximately about 1 o'clock we're going to be having lunch, and then post-lunch we'll go with have kit car, a custom car, a modified car or replica, anything that fits that bill, any era, please. We'd love to see in the arena, and we're starting right now. If you have a kit car, custom car, modified or replica.
Just before I do go back to the car, I just want to see if this is in fact a standard end sign. Yes, it is. This is the end sign. Sort of the most basic version that was offered of the Phase 3 Vanguard. Later Vanguards were sort of given a little bit of a mild facelift by Vignale. But this is based on the earlier Vanguard, but that is a properly rare car now. But anyway, I mustn't get distracted. I need to have a drink, so I'll have another look at that one a little bit later. We're way down here because we're in the fairly late car section, but yeah, Usually we'd be hearing something older, but it's just a bit too far to come in the Pilot or the Renault or even the Dodge pickup. I'd still be driving over here now if I set off in those this morning. Oh, I feel better for that coffee. Right, let's go and do battle. Now the older cars start at the old car section is down the furthest end of the field down there, and then I think we'll gradually work our way back over this way as the cars get slightly later. So I think that is the plan of action for today.
And it looks really nicely squeezed underneath.
Here is a Maserati powered Citroen, the Citroen SM. Incredible looking car, I think these are. 2.7 litre V6 in the front of that. Hydro pneumatic suspension just like the CX and the DS before that. Brace of Mark II Escort, and behind them an MG Magnet. We'll have a closer look at that later up in the parking area. And in pole position here in the pre-1960s area is that gorgeous Sunbeam Talbot Alpine. What a phenomenal looking car that is. Still on its original registration, we like that. A couple of extra Lucas lamps on the front. Many louvers in the bonnet. These were popular in rallying in the early 1950s, the Monte Carlo, that kind of event. Oh, what a fantastic car. Look at the dashboard in that. And the tacho built in under the dash as well, just above the heater unit. Isn't that just lovely? Proper driving gloves as well, we like a bit of that.
Right, this is a rather special thing. It's a Healy. And what, in terms of the platform, I mean, you've got bits of Mazda X5 dimensions.
Next to that gorgeous Sunbeam Talbot, we have this magnificent vintage Austin. What a cracker that is. Is it late 20s or is it the beginning of the 1930s? We've got nickel plating on the front end, so I'm guessing probably late 20s, 28, 29. What a spectacular car. What's this little plaque on the side here? Oh, hang on, a bit of information. Austin Motor Company Limited, Austin 20 horsepower Carlton. We got a date. I can't see a date on. Oh yeah, first registered 10th of June 1925. Wow. So, next year it'll be celebrating its centenary birthday. I know some of the earlier ones had like the carriage type door handles on them. Just look at the lovely patina on those original handles. If only they could talk. But, yeah. Wonderful inside as well. I can see a window open on the other side, so that means let's go and have a quick nosy inside at the driver's compartment of this magnificent Austin. We've got a lovely Shellmex can on here as well. Yeah, window open so we can have a quick peer inside. Yeah, so we've got various controls in the centre of the steering wheel there. We've got the advance and retard on the magneto up there. Air and what's the other one? Gas, I think. But yeah, probably a hand throttle. But yeah, what a beautiful dash. What an incredible car. Look at the engine in there. Big, torquey 4-cylinder engine there. You've got the little priming caps on the top there, so if you're starting up on a cold morning, you could just put a little squirt of fuel in each of them just to help it along a bit, help it catch, and then off and away it goes. Even the linkages are just a work of art. What a beauty that is. You've got the auto vac fuel system. So the vacuum, there's a vacuum takeoff on the inlet manifold just over there, that copper one. The vacuum from the manifold draws the fuel through from the tank into this, the auto vac unit, and then it goes from there by the power of gravity into the carburetor. Yeah, what a beauty that is. Right, over here we have the little Ford Pop 103E. So we've got a little bit of everything going on here. It's basically a pop, and the way to be sure is to have a look at the dash. And it should be the metal dash, yep. But there are some bits and bobs from the later E49, well I say later actually, it's the previous E494A Anglia, the 8 horse car that came before, like the grey one we used to have. Things like the chrome bumper. These headlights are off something else, I think, similar size to the originals. These little trims around the bonnet side vents, those are an Anglia thing. Let's go around here. There's just a few little subtle differences. We've got the Anglia. Actually, these are pre-war. The post-war Anglia did have the shiny centres to the hubcaps, but they didn't have the Ford script in. So I think these are probably pre-war, maybe a pre-war Anglia or something like that. But they fit straight on the pop wheels, because these wheels, these were used for years and years. Yeah, what a beauty that is. Ludlow green, just like our V8 Pilot. First registered 11th of Jan 1956, and there is a copy of the original Buff handbook for it, detailing some of the early owners. Yeah, what a belter that is. Good look, good part next to the Pilot. Right, okay, let's carry on down here. Like I say, this is the older end of the field. Not saying that, we've got an early 70s MGB here. There's a much modified Highlight Morris Minor MM. Where did we see this one recently? I can't remember now, but I have seen it somewhere within the last couple of weeks or so. Pretty bonkers looking car. And over here, an immaculate mini pickup, the little Mini 95 pickup. It's on a V registration. It's been retrofitted with silver and black plates. Originally they would have just been the reflective plates, but that's now permissible apparently, putting silver and black plates. Yeah, that is absolutely immaculate. What fantastic condition that is. Little transverse A series engine, super straight sides, and look at that. Wow, that's some job to get a little pickup looking as straight as that. These lead a really hard life. Obviously you just chuck sacks of coal, bricks, whatever in the back. What tends to happen is loads shift and they go that away and they bang in to there, which gives you a lovely little dent just on the outside of the panel, but none of that in evidence here, so it really is a beauty. You've got the outside door hinges and the slidey door windows, which all the pickups and the vans had right the way through production, and that's certainly one of the best I've seen in quite a long time. Right, oh here is that Dodge. If you're new to the channel, you might not know that we've actually got one of these at home, a very original 1947 Dodge, and that's similar age to this, but this has had many mods, not least a tip forward bonnet and split and hinged in the middle of the front trim. I've never seen that done before. Totally different, because normally the entire nose cone is static and then you've got the centre hinge bonnet to get at the engine either side. Originally the old side valve 6-cylinder engine. This still has a Mopar engine, but it is of the V8 variety. Many mods. So similar yet so different to ours. Look at the dash in there. Well, someone's gone to town on this. The paint finish is incredible. Lovely seat. That's a really neat seat. I like the proper old style Britax lap belts as well. That's a nice little touch. Yeah, it's a bit cleaner than ours. By heck. It really is quite something, that is. Great to see another old Dodge out and about on the show fields. Not so many. You see lots of Fords and Chevys, but not so many Dodges. Now here's that magnificent Rolls Royce. I'm the first to admit I don't always know exactly what I'm looking at, so we will defer to the little information sheet in the window. It's a Phantom 3 Sedanca DeVille, coach wrote by H.J. Mulliner. Wowzers. A 7.3 litre 60 degree V12 engine with double ignition. Wow. If you want to read the history, just pause the video about now. And the bonnet's up, so let's have a look at the engine in this. Look at those lamps as well, those beautiful Lucas lamps. And here is that V12 engine. What a phenomenal lump of engine that is. Look at that. It's almost like an aero engine. Of course, Rolls-Royce produced plenty of aero engines in their time. The aviation division did anyway. But what an incredible engine. Isn't that just stunning? At least the plugs are nice and easy to get at on the side there. Yeah, stove enamelled. Yeah, lovely, lovely engine. V12 Rolls Royce. Wow. The bonnet is up on the Jaguar E-Type, the Series 2 E-Type, letting that mighty XK engine get a little extra cooling while it's parked here today, even though it's not a super warm day. But either way, any extra cooling I'm sure is very welcome under the bonnet of the Jag. We've got some tomatoes here, if anyone wants a tomato, but more of interest to me is this lovely old Morris Cowley. That is a particularly rare sight. We saw the Oxford coming in, not quite sure where that is. We'll have to keep our eyes peeled for that two-tone Oxford, but this is the Cowley. Of course, there was also the Isis version, which had the six-cylinder engine. Very similar shape, slightly longer front on it, but this is the Cowley. I'm not quite sure what size engine about. It's either 1200 or 1500, I forget which, but it's that neck of the woods. And one of the most spectacular cars I filmed coming in is this one that came in on the back of a Transit. This incredible Triumph. What a barn find job this is. Isn't that just spectacular? Look at the engine there. Wow. Six-cylinder, twin carburetors. Yeah. Isn't that just incredible? Just wants a bit of an oily rag. That's all beautiful. So which model is it? Is it the Gloria, perhaps? Let's have a look. It's a 1934 Gloria 6. Wow, there's the blurb. Just pause the video and have a read. Wow. Isn't that just wonderful? Now, would you restore this or would you just oily rag it? Personally, I would just clean it, oily rag it and just preserve it as is. Just get it running properly and reliably. I love these little, I love how they just fit between the door hinges, the little pop-up trafficators. But that is really quite something. This reminds me of that 1937 Talbot that I dragged out of a garage just a few years back. Very distinctive, those twin rear windows. That's always a sign that you're looking at a Triumph. Yeah. How original is that? Would it restore it, repainting it and restoring it to how it was, factory fresh? Personally, I like it like this. It's sort of evolved to this point in time. As long as you can make it safe, reliable and preserve as much as possible of the original fixtures and fittings, then I think that's the way to go. And I do love the sort of the curvy bars on the steering wheel though. That's quite a novel little thing. And like on some pre-war Singers, the dash is actually really quite sloped, and that gives you a little bit more knee room than you sometimes find on pre-war cars. But yeah, isn't that something? Yeah, just wants a little wipe over with the oily rag and should be good to go. There's the proud Triumph badge, the very, very small Triumph badge. What a sweet running six-cylinder engine. It's had new pistons and the engine gone through, but it's going to be preserved exactly as you see it here, and that's just perfect. Right, let's carry on down here past the Transit that brought it here. It's precious cargo. And here's that somewhat modified V6 badged Pop, or Anglia. It's badged up as a Pop, so we'll go with that. Now, what is this? Side valve engine powered Morgan. I'm never brilliant at identifying three-wheelers. I never know if I'm looking at a Morgan or a BSA half the time. But this is a Morgan. It's got the little side valve engine, the 1172, same as that Ford Pop we were looking at before, born in 1935. So this is the engine that would have been originally in the Model C or the CX, which was the pre-war Ford 10 that the 1172cc engine made its debut in. The Pop 103, much later, 1953, that came along. But this has got the engine from the Model C or CX in it. Very bonny indeed. Let's carry on down here. What's this one here? This An F4 Sports 1949. This one is for sale. And a few spares as well, some E93A engine parts as well. So there you go. Also 1172cc 1949. Another little Morgan here. What a great trio of Morgans. 1947 Morgan F4. Great to see these proper early cars here today at Thoresby Hall. And here, the Mark I Zephyr Zodiac. Isn't that great? I do love these. I think they're so characterful, the two-tone paints. Very similar paint jobs to the like the E-Series Veloxes and the Crestas. They always look pretty cool as well. This one's got an aftermarket sun visor on, as so many of them do. Great period accessory. Oh, I love this radio speaker on the back parcel shelf. You can just see it through there. Never seen one of those before. Let's have a quick peer inside. We've got bench seating, and I love how the clock is, I don't know if you can see that, but the clock is built into the headlining just above the mirror. Hope you can see that. That's a neat little detail on these cars. I've got one of those clocks in the box of gauges back at home, and it took me a little while to figure out what it was off, and then when I saw one of these and had a peer inside, I knew exactly what it was off. Yeah, column change. And this was the car that replaced our V8 Pilot. The Pilot was introduced in '47 based on the pre-war V8 Ford from America, and that was made until 1951, until such time as the Zephyr Zodiac could take over as the big engine car in Ford's post-war range. And that is what we're looking at here. What a fantastic example that is. And next to it, A40 Somerset, like I say, identical colour to one I had many years ago, 20 or so years ago. Yeah, I've had a few of these Austin County's cars over the years, A40 Devon, saloons and pickups. I had one Somerset identical to this, which I think has now been converted. Someone later converted it into a pickup truck and did actually a very nice job of it. So it's quite nostalgic to see this one here today. These were powered by the BMC 1200cc engine before the B-Series. It was the basis of the B-Series engine, but I don't think it was actually the B-Series, although it may be that foreign market cars possibly had the small versions of the early B-Series in. I'm not quite sure. It's got those little mileage recorders on the dash, just like we've got that little thing there. So you can figure out your miles per gallon if you kept a log of how many gallons of fuel you put in, how many miles you covered. Then you could use that. You could grab your slide rule and go and figure out what mile per gallon you were doing. Probably in the case of one of these, mid-30s, something like that. Column shift. Still got the original sticker in the window explaining the gear positions on one of these newfangled column shifts, because of course, even though this was based on the Devon, the Devons had floor change. The Somerset introduced column shift, and the A40 vans and pickups at the same time, even though they continued with their Devon-based styling, they did switch to the Somerset chassis and running gear, so column shift became a thing on the A40 vans and pickups at the same time as the Somerset was launched. But yeah, you don't see too many of these now. Quite a cuddly shape, really. Very similar to the slightly larger A70 Hereford. You could easily confuse the two, but the Hereford was just a little bit bigger. And carrying on down the row here, we have this beautiful dark black, very original paint on this one. I remember this one from last year. Lovely Wolseley 1500, quite an early one. And we have some bits for sale, so that only means one thing. Let's have a quick rifle through. What do we have? We've got a tubular manifold of something or other. We've got one of those radiator muffs, those covers that you put on in the winter to help your car engine warm up that bit quicker. It's for an Austin or Morris 1100, £20. What a bargain. If I had an 1100, I'd be buying that. Any other gems in here? Got a twin carb inlet manifold of something, BMC 1100, a twin carb. So what's that, the MG perhaps? What have we got here? Something for an A40 Farina brake springs. Anything else that we might need in here? But look at that lovely. Look at that Kingsbury I think for 20 quid, that's a great buy. I'd definitely be buying that if I had an 1100. Let's leave it so people can see it. People passing by can see the label on it, and that seems like a good idea. Right, let's carry on past the great little Wolseley, and here is that two-tone Morris Oxford. Really cool to see this one. Great to see it on its original registration. So many of these cars of the 50s have been robbed of their original registrations. This has got the 1500cc B-series engine in it, so there's slightly more at market than the Cowley that was sold alongside it. And like I say, there was also the Isis that had the straight six in it, slightly longer front on it. Let's have a quick peer in through the side here. Ooh, very smart indeed. Lovely bench seat. Got the Siram picnic set on the back. We've got one very similar to that in the back of the Pilot, actually. We've got one of those little clip-on picnic trays there, just clips onto the back of the front seat. Designed for cars with a bench seat in the front, of course. And there's something we need on our Pilot, which it doesn't come with. A centre armrest in the front. That would have been a very useful fitting in our Pilot, because you do tend to roll around a little bit on the bench seat. And over here, look at these little plastic toy cars there. That's the sort of thing that they used to give away in packets of cereal in the 1950s. Yeah, we like that. Nice little detail, that. What a great car. Yeah, what a beauty that is. And over here, fuel injection. Is that a thing? Oh, lovely Chevrolet. We didn't see this one driving in before. Oh, lovely two-door Chevy of the mid-1950s, the Bel Air. Nice rug. Fantastic. Right, let's carry on up here and admire some of the old cars here today in the grounds of Thoresby Park. Yes, that brings back many memories. Right, including changing head gaskets on several occasions. Right, we've got Audi Quattro here. The little Morris Minor 1000 Traveller, very bonny one, quite a late one. They had silver wheels on those, the later of the Morris Minor Travellers. There's those great little Morgans, side valve powered Morgans. Frog Eye Sprite, little Austin Healey Sprite Mark 1, or is it? Because this has a tilt forward bonnet and Triumph Herald bonnet catches on it, so I'm guessing this is probably a fiberglass flip front on here. For Michelotti, of course, designed the original Herald on which those handles first appeared. Yeah, so a few modifications to that one. There's a great little Morris van, about late 67, early 68, the registration date of this one. All pretty familiar stuff to anyone used to a Morris Minor. Of course, these had the separate chassis, and the commercials also had the MM style bonnet strip. Right, I'm now on battery number 4, so we'll carry on down here. Pretty purposeful looking pop there. Bonnet up on the C-type rep. Let's have a look at it. Straight 6XK engine. Staffordshire registration on this. Let's have a quick peer under here. Triple carbs, triple Webers. Plenty of heat off these exhaust manifolds over here. No. Very nice too. XK120C. Then we've got an early Austin Healey 3000 with a big BMC 3-litre engine, twin SU carbs. Inlet manifold by Dennis Welch, well-known Healey tuner, rally driver, racer, restorer. Yeah, it's all quite a tight fit in there. Beautiful looking cars, and I do like these early Healeys, the big Healeys with the clip-in side screens and the way the doors just roll over and curve around into the top of the dash. They squared things off quite a lot when they put the wind-up windows in. So let's carry on round here, because here is that Morris Z van, the ex-GPO Morris Z van with its rubber wings, which makes it quite unusual. It's also got the different bonnet catches. The GPO ones had these sort of lift-over catches. The regular Z vans have the budget lock, same as a Ford Pop 103E boot lid. So you have like a little T-handle, you put it in, twist it, and that releases the lock in there. And there's usually another one over there as well. Yeah. So this was a contemporary of like the Morris 8 Series E, same engine, the 918, 4-cylinder side valve engine. Yeah, this is quite rare being an ex-GPO one. Of course, many, when they were sold off, they just went into civilian hands and they were run as just a regular little van, and that's probably what the case is with this one. It's rare to see the original rubber wings front and rear. They do tend to deteriorate a little bit, so it's quite hard to keep these old rubber wings still in good condition. Made by Dunlop. That's very neat. That's very neat indeed. Yeah, quite a handy little van. And yeah, these grills in the back were also a GPO thing. The bonnet is up on the Triumph Vitesse. Let's have a quick peek at its 2 litre, or just under 2 litre straight 6 engine. There it is, twin carbs. So easy to work on. There's the alternator. Coil, all nice and easy to get out and service. Couldn't be any easier really, could it? Very tidy little Mini City here with its transverse A+ engine. This was an evolution of the original A series engine. A few little improvements here and there. I think they got rid of the bypass hose, which was a thing with the regular A series for so many years. I think this engine was also fitted to the Metro, wasn't it? There's that lovely, lovely Jaguar Mark V. Such a sleek car.
So it's 18 years old.
Yeah, it's always great to see these early cars. If you've got a car of the 30s, 40s or 50s and you're thinking, oh, shall I bring it along to one of these shows that he goes to and videos? Well, please do. Please bring it out, because more old cars the merrier in my book. This has got the 2.5 litre engine. Very nice. Sir William Lyons knew what he was doing when he was putting pen to paper and designing the next cars. Just look at the detail of the way the door cutout goes around the fitting for the pop-up semaphore indicator. Hidden hinges as well, no exposed door hinges. So that was a sign of quality on a car of that era. Yeah, beautifully sleek car. Headlamps blended in to the front wings as well. Of course, many cars at the time had separate headlamps, maybe coming out of the top of the wing or the side of the radiator grille, but no, it was all blended in. Right, let's carry on. We have an immaculate P4 over here, again with its original registration number, so we approve of that, and proper old style plate as well, in this case a Blumels. Sometimes you see Ace plates, sometimes you see Blumels or something different altogether, but that's just really lovely. We have a quick peer in there, the window is up, but you can see the lovely interior on that one. And next to the Rover we have this Riley RM. A beautiful RM it is too. Of course you could get the Roadster. This is the saloon. Quite a complex arrangement for the roof on these. It's not just steel, it's not just vinyl over steel, there's like a mesh and there's padding and all sorts of things going on behind that outer covering, like a wreck scene sort of finish. So these are post-war, late 40s. I think they came out and produced into the beginning of the 1950s, but very much pre-war construction techniques. Steel panel work over an ash frame, lovely leather seating, wood dash, real quality car. Twin cam engine. This has got the 1.5 litre, there was also the 2.5 as well. The easiest way to tell them apart is if it's got a dark blue background on the badge, it's a 1.5. If it's got a pale blue background, then it's a 2.5. Yeah. Real quality car, very, very swish looking car indeed, and I do like the wheel spats on this one.
Right, sir.
got another couple of minutes, so tell me about your
Very sleek lines, lovely lines on these.
Lovely example. Obviously 2 litre from what I see on there. These were sort of, well, so that's,
Now, while I'm still over in this area of the field, it would be remiss of me not to reach for my copy of the Observer's Book of Automobiles, because it just so happens there are a number of entries in here for the Morris brand, the Morris cars built in Cowley. And if we have a look at page number 188, we have an entry for the Morris Cowley Saloon, which we have there in front of us. Number of cylinders 4, cubic capacity, yep, 1200cc. There we go. Overall width 5'5", in case you need to know the dimensions if you're putting one in your garage. Overall length 14 feet 1. Fuel tank 12 imperial gallons. And on the facing page we also have the Oxford Saloon, a 2-tone example of which is parked just over the back over there, and we've just been having a close look at it. But yeah, very handy book indeed if you are interested in your cars of the late 1950s. Anyway, where was I? Ah yes, chrome bumper MGB Roadster, and next to that slightly older MGA fixed head coupe. Some tuning mods under here, twin SUs. What's Landar? Not quite sure what that is. Yeah. What a beautiful looking car. Very curvy, very swoopy styling on these MGAs. And here is that lovely Rover P2, and on the other side of the car I can see a for sale sign. Now, what size is this? They're usually badged up on the grille. So this is the 10. So this is the 10 horse car. They did the 12, the 14, the 16, the 20. Yeah, very handsome. I think these are about 1400cc. It's a little bit old for my book of automobiles, but I think these are about 1400cc, the 10. Lovely quality car. Really lovely cars. I could definitely see myself running one of these one day. Like I say, it's always lovely to see these pre-war era cars at these classic car shows. And if you've got one of these, oh, I promise I didn't see this before. 1400cc, 10 horsepower, 1946. So yeah, very much a pre-war car, but these were reintroduced following the Second World War. There we go. New tyres, new chrome, new bumpers, headlights, original plating on there, just polished through slightly. But that just gives a little bit of a feeling of age, and we do like that. But yeah, what a handsome machine that is. And here we have the Morris 8 Series 1 that we saw driving in before with the Rover. This is a 4-door saloon. You could get the 2 doors as well. You could get the Tourers. All had the 918cc side valve engine, same engine as fitted to that little Z van that we were looking at just a few moments ago. Really immaculate opening sunroof. These are the little drains for the sunroof, 2 at the front and 2 at the back. There is the little side valve engine. A few useful spares in there as well. One feature of these is that SU electric pump. Morris were big fans of electric pumps, whereas Austin tended to stay with the AC mechanical pumps for many years. A few handy bits and bobs there. Yeah, what a beauty that is, the Morris 8. Right, we've got quite a few Morrises down the row here. We've got a lovely one here actually. I like that, with the little no-tech lamps on the front. No-tech blue spots. This Ford Anglia Rio 4A we see quite regularly. There's a lovely little Moggy here in black for sale. Looks pretty original. It's got the original stripe down the side. Paint polished through in places. And that's quite neat, isn't it? It's a 2-door. You always have to have a close look where the back wings bolt on, because they can go rusty around here, but this one looks alright. Looks very original actually. We like original. Ooh, there goes that Alpine. Not sure, maybe it's going into the arena possibly. What a cracker that is. There it goes off into the arena, and there is also an entry for it in my trusty little book here. Sunbeam Alpine, number of cylinders 4, cubic capacity 2267cc. There we go, bit of info on it there. Very handsome looking car. In character with other Sunbeam models, but note smaller, deeper intakes beside the radiator side lights are separate. The absence of door handles and bonnet ports, and the word Alpine appears forward of each door. So yeah, what a cracker that is. I wonder if we'll see any of these lovely Talbots here today, but somehow I doubt it. Here's that lovely MG Magnet that we saw, quite a late arrival. Very nice twin car B series engine in these. Oh, and there goes that lovely Triumph, that pre-war Triumph, the 6-cylinder Triumph Gloria. Isn't that great? What a great old survivor that is. I do love that. That really is something else. That's definitely one of the highlights of the day here today for me. And the hot-rodded Dodge is heading in the same direction. Bonnet is now down. Sounds very, very smooth. There goes one of the Morgans. Rightio, next row, still with the oldies. We've got a 64 MGB Roadster here. Lovely car. These first came out in 1962. Well, there goes the Riley, heading off into the arena. You can always tell the slightly earlier ones because they have sort of the pull-down door handles that sort of do this. Whereas by this point in time they went to the safer handles that you see there with a little push button. But yeah, lovely colour, really nice.
Okay, we've still got some pre-1960s cars coming.
Let's carry on down here. A couple of Escorts. These were fairly late arrivals, and here is that A40 Farina, now surrounded by other classic cars. This is the Mark II. It's a fairly early Mark II, I think. When they first came out, the Mark IIs, they had the same 948 engine as the Mark I A40 Farina that came along before, but it wasn't too long before they switched to the 1098 unit, the inline 4-cylinder unit, same as fitted to the contemporary Morris Minor. Yeah, quite rare. You can also get the Countryman version, which had the lift-up rear window. This is a deluxe with the opening rear side windows and the bumper overriders. But yeah, this is a saloon, just like our Mark I at home, which is also a saloon.
I was going to say, British car of any era.
It's got a dinky on the back window shelf, on the back parcel shelf there.
It's a lovely colour.
Yeah, horizon blue, I think that is, with a black roof. Lovely colour. Well supported, ably supported by the Austin A40 Farina Club. If you've got one of these cars and you're not a club member yet, I highly recommend you join it because it doesn't cost much and they have an incredible spares support service up and running, so it's really, really good. And they have I think there's a magazine, 4 times a year, something like that, which is also really nicely turned out. But yeah, the club for these is really spectacular. For a small club, they really achieve great things. Okay, here we have a P5B saloon with a 3.5 litre V8 engine. Very comfy, very swish car indeed. Ran one of these for a little while. Like I say, it's got the optional rear headrests in this one. You've got a pull-out tray in the middle of the dash. And isn't the toolkit in there as well? I've got a feeling it is. Beautiful example this. That dark blue paint really sets off the chroma treat. Looks like a couple of stainless steel exhaust pipes sticking out the back there. It's on a K plate, but yeah, these rear headrests are not common at all. There's an E-Type on the move. It's a Series 1, I think that's just arriving. I don't remember seeing that one coming in before, or maybe it was in before, I don't know. Maybe this is the space that it came out of, who knows. It's quite an early one. It doesn't say E-Type on the back, it just says Jaguar. So that suggests it's a fairly early example of the 3.8 Series 1. The very early ones had flat floors and outside bonnet catches. So it's not one of the very, very first. These came out in 1961 originally, but it's certainly early-ish, before they actually put E-Type on the badge below the Jaguar emblem. Definitely a lovely car, that is. Right, let's carry on down here. Morris Mini Minor, very early one, early Mark 1. I think the very first Minis were Morris's, weren't they? And the Austin came along shortly after. Looks very original under the bonnet here, the little SU carb at the back. The correct Morris rocker cover on it. 1960 disc in the window. There we go, built August 30th, 1960. Yeah, great little car. Different badging, of course, compared to the Austin. Different grille as well, very different grille. Austins have the wavy grills. This one's slightly later. And here, the little Wolseley Hornet, which was based on the Mini, but slightly plusher inside, and different back wings, and the slightly larger boot. They're all useful upgrades. And interestingly, they also have the polished door window surrounds that were also fitted as standard to the Cooper and the Cooper S. So that was a feature of these particular cars as well. Lovely Wolseley Hornet Mark II and its original registration as well. So we definitely approve of that. A lovely Merc SL here. Very swish indeed. 280 SL. First registered April 1984. The Morris Minor 1000 here. This one on the J, one of the very last, I would have thought. Chrome bumper BGT, complete with a Model 1 on top of the dash. Yeah, lovely. These slightly higher roofline compared to the Roadster. The GT design was actually undertaken by Pininfarina on behalf of BMC. BMC put the MGB Roadster into production sometime before, in '62. And these came along, I think they were announced late in '65, ready for the '66 model year. I think that's how it was. But yes, this reskin, the redesign to make the GT, was a Pininfarina undertaking. And I did see one of these recently with a Pininfarina badge on the bonnet. Okie dokie. Right, and we have another Morris Mini Mark 1 over here, the Mini Minor. Again, lovely, lovely car. And there's that wonderful Mercedes, complete with sizable lamp. And what a great looking old girl that is, on the C registration. Yeah. Very, very characterful old van, that one. Ex-fire department. We've got a Morris Cooper over here. Let's have a look. 1275 Cooper S, 1965. Took 2 years to restore. Wow, all panels original, no welding required. By gum. It's not often you say that about an old Mini. Original panels and no welding. Wow. The twin SUs tucked away there. Yeah, very nice. Lovely two-door Morris 1000 over here. Morris Traveller alongside that. Still got the clap hand wipers, so that's a nod back to the earlier split window cars. But of course by this point in time the Morris 1000 had the single piece screen, but for a time they still continued with the clap hand wipers. So that's quite a neat little thing. The Cortina 1600E, one of the posh Mark II Cortinas. Mark III Zodiac, a very, very modified Mark III Zodiac. And I think I spy Rover V8 engine under the bonnet of the Mark III Zodiac. So many, many modifications on this one, not least the paint, which is particularly eye-catching. Bay window VW over here. What's that? City of La Quinta. Sunbeam Alpine, our favourite colour. We do like bright yellow. Usually our bright yellow MX-5 would be here, but it is at Hopley House. I think Mrs. OCC and the youthful assistant have taken the MX-5 to Hopley House meeting this morning, so they're over there. Harley's doing a video for his car traction channel, and I'm here doing a video for mine. Right, lovely TR here, the TR5, slopey headlight 6-volt Beetle over here. Looks like a very original paint, polished through in places. We like a bit of that left-hand drive. Quite neat little wind deflectors on top of the door windows. Lots of accessories were available for Beetles back in the day, and it's always cool to see them whenever you see them fitted. I was looking at a Beetle yesterday and it had a hinge open windscreen, which was something pretty unusual. Okay, we got another TR5 here, lovely TR5 in midnight blue. We do like a bit of that. Mark I Ford Fiesta Project Bobcat. That's what it was known as internally when it was being developed in the 1970s. These two Dolomites we saw driving in before. I have no reverse gear. Okay. Yep. Really neat to see them. Very characterful saloons of the 1970s. Let's have a quick look at this club stand down here. Got a variety of cars, most of them fairly late. Got a Mark II GTI just over there, it's a very clean car. Lotus Elise, the Lotus XL. There's that great Lancia Fulvia, the front engine V4 Fulvia, the Fulvia HF. It's up for sale. £21,500 for that one, 1.3 litre. This is probably an import because the UK spec cars, the headlights, the outer headlights were moved slightly higher and had like a bit of a hump just in the top of the front wings on the UK market cars. So I'm guessing this one, which is left-hand drives, that's a bit of a giveaway as well, but that was the difference. The UK spec cars, the lamps were just a little bit higher on the outside here. Yeah, pretty cool. There's a Stag with its bonnet up there. MGB recessed grille. I'll keep going down here, hunting out the oldies, that's our MO. MGB, Cortina Mark II on an H, a little Fiesta over here, the mighty TVR, we heard that one coming in before we saw it earlier on. Yeah, and just a few later cars over there, including the Mini. Right, back to the rows over here. Another wonderful Wolseley 1500, this one in grey, heads up this particular line. And sticking with the BMC theme, we have got this 4-door Morris 1000 alongside it. By this point in time, the clap hand wipers are gone and more conventional wiper arrangements are now standard. So we've got a heritage certificate here, which is quite useful, gives you lots of information. Right hand drive, home market deluxe, in Trafalgar blue with blue and grey trim. Built 4th to the 5th of January 1967. Very useful service that for anyone with a BMC car. You get some useful information there. Series 2A, late 67, early 68, and this V8 250 that we saw driving in before from 1965 is for sale. £10,000.
For sale.
Yeah, that's got the 2.5 V8 in it, the Edward Turner V8 engine. Of course, Jaguar bought out Daimler, and part of the package was the 2.5 and the 4.5 litre engines. The latter went into the Daimler Majestic Major and the DR450 Limo, which was based on the Majestic Major. The 2.5 V8 as fitted to this car was fitted to these, and also the Daimler Dart, the SP250, to give it its original name. I love the heated window in the back of this one. Yep, so £10,000 this one. Doesn't look like a bad buy. Most of them are autos, but they did do some manual. This is an auto, but that's a lot of car. Okay, a very blue Morris Traveller here from 1969. This one is called Molly, apparently.
How long have you had the car, do you know?
Well, Porsche Speedster wrap, really cool. Sounds lovely, that does. There's the split window VW. Very nice too, 1967 that one. Here's the Alfa Romeo Giulia. And we will have a quick look down. This also has the clap hand wipers actually. We'll have a look down at the stickers down here only because we have a head-on view of the Avro Vulcan, the magnificent V-bomber, one of the 3 V-bombers that helped to maintain the peace during the Cold War. That, the Victor, and of course the Valiant. Right, we got 3500S, the manual gearboxed P6 with the 3.5 V8 engine. It's a beauty this is. And some mini light wheels. Yeah, again, like that P5B, it's a beautiful shade, a very dark blue. It really sets the bright work off a treat. Yeah, we've got little open quarter lights, front and rear doors. Great cars. Okie dokie. A couple of Fords here. We've got fast Ford in the shape of an RS2000. There's that Lancia Apia that we saw coming before. Hopefully we'll get to see that one again in a moment. Mark II Cortina here, a 4-door. Little Riley Elf, very similar to the Wolseley Hornet. And talking of Wolseleys, we have a maroon Wolseley 1500 over here. Great old period advert in the window. 1.5 litre performance of Wolseley Luxury for only £774, 3 shillings and the pence, including purchase tax of course. Yeah, that's a beauty, that is. Yeah. Incredible paint on that. There's that lovely Apia just over there. What a great car that is. No centre pillar on those, so the rear doors are rear hinged, the front doors are conventionally hinged, and you've just got a really big space once you've got all the doors open. Very advanced little car, V4 engine. Right, let's carry on along the row. Here is this great little Austin A35 van with added window, which was done it's a very popular conversion. You can tell the vans, they've got the little vent in the roof. Yes, so whoever's done this conversion has done a really nice job. Sometimes it looks like a bit of a hatchet job when people add windows to the side of a panel van, but this almost looks factory. It's really nicely done. Yeah, it's lovely green as well. No. And yeah, I do like the recesses in the panels. The slightly earlier vans also had the recesses in the front doors as well. That's a beauty, that is, complete with a sun visor on it. So let's carry on along here. There's a few cars moving, so I think they must be going into the arena. There's a 1600E, quite a rare colour I would have thought. Most of them seem to be metallic, but they have really nicely stocked dashboards in these and lovely steering wheel. Isn't that the same as the Cortina Lotus Mark II? Got a feeling it might be. Someone's very organised with their spanners and their Mini. You're more organised than I am. Just chucked in a box. Right, there we go. Another Cortina there. Here we have a Cortina Lotus Mark II. So let's have a look at the steering wheel actually. Yep, it's the same steering wheel. I thought it was. And there's the little twin cam Lotus engine, similar to that in the Elan. Got a Series 2 E-Type 2+2 there. Midget with the round wheel arches, which I think they only did that for a couple of years before reverting to the squared off arches. And over here, the Triumph TR6. Over here is that epic Citroën SM. Really groovy. And the inner lamps, they follow the angle of the steering to illuminate the corners as you drive around those mountain passes at night, as you typically do, same as the DS in that respect. But this has got the Maserati V6 in it, 2.7 litre. Incredible looking car that is. Here we have an Anglia Super, the Anglia 123E, basically a posh version of the 105E. Really tasty example this, and yeah, there are just a few cars queuing to go in. There's that really early Porsche 911, slightly shorter wheelbase than the later cars. I think they probably extended the wheelbase just to help with the slightly tail-happy handling of these early 911s. And in front of it, that great Lancia Apia. It's running a little bit rich, I think the choke stuck, but yeah, what a great little car that is. Right, another battery change, and I'm having to redo this row because the camera didn't save any of this row. So we're going to have to walk down here again. But here's that lovely Wolseley 1660 with a 1622 engine. This one dates to 1967. I'm going to have to speed up a bit because I've only got one more battery after this one. So I'm just going to have to up the pace a little bit, I think. So we've got a couple of great VW campers over here. Let's carry on over here. P1800S, the early one. RS2000, nice to see one of those with a proper engine in it, not a later Cosy, which a lot of people fit into the Mark 1s. Here's that Bedford J-Type, always nice to see one or two commercial vehicles at these events. Here's the MGC GT with the mighty 3-litre BMC straight 6 under its bonnet. There's the Triumph TR5 with fuel injected 2.5-litre engine. There is the Moggy, the S-Class Mercedes. Of course, James Hunt had one of the bigger engine ones of these. 76 world champion for McLaren. GT6 Mark III. Nice MGB there, great shade of green. Series 1 E-Type Roadster. Another B here, Vauxhall Victor F-Type. How cool is that? I do love a 50 saloon. A couple of cars on the move over there and heading off towards the arena. Oh, yeah. What a great car that is. This is one of the slightly later cars. They did go through 2 or 3 evolutions, the F-Series, before the FB came along to replace it in the early 60s. But yeah, these things used to rot away like crazy. So how any of them survived is a mystery, really. Right, we've got a few goodies for sale here in front of this Austin. The ADO 16. Super Little Mini here. Make that 3 Super Little Minis. Over here, fairly early example of the Allegro. Of course, the early ones of these were criticised a bit because they had like a quartic steering wheel. They didn't have fully circular steering wheels, but I think this one has got a circular wheel. But yeah, the earlier ones were sort of slightly squared off, and they did look slightly odd. Crane Fly, clearly a big fan. Right. Ooh, nice old stickers in the back window as well, we like a bit of that. Sold new in painting. Right, as I'm burning through batteries, I'm going to have to keep moving. Here is the Simca 1100. That's nice, isn't it?
Because
the transverse engine there. Yeah, very cool, very original looking. E-Type with added leaper. This is a V12 Series 3 with a 2+2, so the higher roof line and an extra set of seats in the back, longer wheelbase as well. So the Series 3 V12s were only available as the 2+2 or indeed the Roadster. Right, let's carry on up here. Lovely midnight blue TR6, RS2000 in a fetching shade of red, a Mercedes 190E with those added sort of shiny wheel arch trims. 2-litre S Capri 2. It's a rare old girl, that is. Got a Series 1.5 2+2 E-Type. This is quite a late 1.5 with the exposed headlamps. Most Series 1s and 1.5s, they have the covers over the headlights, but the very late Series 1.5s, this is a 67. They had the exposed headlights, which would be a standard thing of the Series 2s later. Got a Mark 1 Mexico with 4 CB Oscars on the front. A re-engined Mark 1 there. Granada Alley here. I've got a couple of great examples of the Mark 1 Granada. Got an early Mark 2 Granada here. There's the little Spitty, the little 1500 with a very throaty sounding exhaust system. There's that Marina Coupe, looks very original indeed. Bright yellow Stag, Mark 2, Wasp, get away. RS2000, also in yellow, probably why the Wasp is around. And a very accessorised Beetle over here. A bit of everything going on here. By heck. We've got some tunes coming out, so we'll keep moving so we don't upset the copyright people at YouTube. There's the Rolls. Stag. There's the 3-litre V8. Lovely jubbly. Over here, the pair of midgets that we saw driving in before. Okie dokie. We go down the next row. Things are starting to get a little bit more modern, probably 1970s-ish. Got this 3.5 litre here, P6 in a very unusual colour, very unusual shade of orange. 2000 TC for twin carburetors. Very, very bright V8 here.
And you may be put through to our best of show later in the
There are a lot of yellow cars here today, we approve of that. We've got a Carman gear, very eye-catching. A great orange Beetle. I do love cars with colour. So many modern cars are just different shades of grey and black and white. It's all pretty tedious. Look at this, how cool is this? Nissan Fairlady Z. Right-hand drive, but of course, yeah, these were the Nissan Fairlady in America, weren't they? Here there were 240Zs, 260Zs. Well, this one looks pretty groovy. Who remembers the Samurais, the specially race-prepared cars? I remember those. They had like a matte black bonnet, if I remember right. These were also popular in rallying. I remember these in the pages of Autocar magazine within the rally section. Okie dokie, we have a lightweight Land Rover over there, Spitfire Mark IV, that's got the 1296cc engine, 2-litre TR7 drophead coupe there. Beetle, probably it's got the flattish windscreen, so I think it's a 1302. I think the 1303 had the curvy screen. It's a 1300, but close enough. Scimitar GTE, also in yellow. Really clean. Look how straight that is. You see quite a few campers around, but they're not always as straight as that one is. Right. D-bumpered 1100 here, little Austin. Re-engined throttle bodies. So we'll carry on. Quite a few modified cars here as well, including this Mark II. Got a little Spitty over here, very nice, a Spitfire 1500. So this was the ultimate evolution of the engine that first came out in the standard 8, little 803 unit, and then it stretched and stretched until they got to 1500cc. Got a V8 MGB GT here. So this is the car that effectively replaced the MGC with a big heavy straight 6. This is a much lighter engine. An MGB over here with its 1800cc B series unit, very clean car indeed. Another Rover V8, 3.5 litre, with quite the assortment of badges on the front, including a very nice one for the Caravan Club. We like a bit of that. Over here, another VW circa 1986. 3 interesting Skodas over here. We've got this great little pickup with like the boxy sort of van attachment on the back. We've got a fastback Skoda here, both rear engine, these ones here. Super clean, lovely condition, all of them. This Spree Turbo, fiberglass bodied Lotus, of course. There's that Fiat 128. It's up for sale, 3.5 grand. That's a rare thing, that is. A mate of mine, whose dad had a couple of BMWs in the sort of 70s, early 80s. He also had one of these as a runaround. One day he was driving to London and forgot he was in this and not the BMW, put it in 3rd gear, and left it in 3rd gear all the way to London. So by the time he got to London, I don't think there was a lot of oil left in it. Right, a 2.8 i Capri, very, very clean car, this one. Yeah, lovely paint on it. Yeah, here's the little Metro, the little van. Is it the 310? I think these were originally badged up. This one's got Morris badges on it. Yeah, I think the original vans were the 310s, weren't they, or something like that. A couple of Golfs here. This one, a left hooker. RS Turbo, Series 2. A club edition of the Vauxhall Nova. I think there was also an Astra Club as well, wasn't there? One of the limited edition cars. The Lotus XL is over here now, again fiberglass bodied. The Alfa Romeo 33. Saw a race prepared one of these at Alton Park just the other day. I was on a test day. MGB moving. Got a Golf GTI over here. Really, really clean. Calibras. Yeah, very nice pair. Very sleek, very unfussy, just good looking, quite a handsome car I think. I think there's a lot of Cavalier under the skin. An immaculate engine bay. Great old Granada here. The gear, the 2.8i, big V6. There's the Sapphire Cosworth. There's a super little Nissan.
64 was the last year of the phase 3.
MGR V8. Golf. The 123 Mercedes Coupe, showing off its pillarless design, not unlike that of the XJC. That was also a pillarless coupe, similar era to this. Beautiful car. These built like tanks they were. And over on the end here, talking of tanks, the Volvo 240.
Again, because they're quite a rare car to find.
Fiesta on the end here, looks a bit of fun. XJ40 Jaguar, nice one. The 190 Mercedes here for sale. Pair of super little minis over there. Got some later cars over there, little Fiestas and things like that. There's the RX-7 Mark 1 next to the 2CV. E28 BMW here. That's really nice, about 1986-ish. Very upright design, lots of glass, great to see out of, great to look at. This is the 525e, the ETA, which was designed with economy in mind, so it had fairly tall gearing. I think these did the ETA models, so they were designed if fuel economy was important to you. Got a great little TVR here, and a Toyota Crown. Look at this, big luxurious Toyota with a Crown Super Saloon. I remember a neighbour of ours bought one similar to this. It's probably the one before this, brand new, dark green one it was, and I was so impressed as a kid. So many chrome buttons to operate all the windows, all that kind of thing. You know, it really was very, very unusual, eye-catching car, and in the 70s it was really quite an aspirational car.
So I'm guessing it's quite an early Mustang, is it?
Right, let's keep looking at some of the older cars here. We've got a Porsche 944, a great little red 2CV, looks very original paint. I like a bit of that. And here is that early RX-7 with the bonnet raised. So yeah, Series 1 Mark 2 with a Wankel, Dr. Wankel's rotary engine. This one from 1983. A very compact engine. It's down there somewhere. Mazda stuck with rotary engines for years. Often we see the early to mid 70s RX-3 at some of the events closer to home, and then they continued with the RX-7s and indeed the RX-8. There's that great little Skoda Favorit Estate. It's a rare survivor now, a little Rover Cabriolet. You don't see too many of those around. Got some spider plants here. Lovely Morgan, I like the colour of that. Beetle over here. 3 Series and E30 BMW 3 Series on some pretty big wheels. Super little 2CV here. 205 GTI. The Mini Cooper, one of the 1990s reissued Mini Coopers. That one registered not a million miles away from us. The Audi Coupe Quattro 5-cylinder car. The Opel Manta GT. And down here, next to another Calibra, we have that super rare Mark 1 Astra GTE that we saw coming before. What a rarity that is. Pleasingly grubby, the back bumper of this Alpine. I suggest it gets driven properly. The GTA V6 Turbo. So that's a souped up, hotted up version of the PRV V6 engine. Peugeot, Renault and Volvo all used the PRV engine in various different applications, and it also found its way under the glass rear hatch of this, the GTA. Pretty wild looking car. Great looking things. Really swish. Not dissimilar shape to that Sierra XR4i just over there actually. Right, we're getting slightly later, 1980s, 90s, that kind of age. So we'll just have a bit of a scoot around, just a general look and see what cars are here and what cars you can expect if you plan coming to this particular classic car show, or indeed a classic car show nearer to where you live, because this gives you a pretty good idea of the kind of cars you'll see, including gems such as this Delta Integrale, or Lancia Delta Integrale. Pretty groovy car, made famous on the rally stages across the world in the 1990s in the Group A era. Over 75 there. This is an RS, one of the later RS 2000s, based on the Mark V Ford Escort, I think. The Escort GTI here, very clean, immaculate in fact. Let's just keep going. So, Ford Puma, I think these are really great, future collectible, definitely. If you can find one of those that hasn't gone rusty, squirrel it away, because those, and indeed the Ford Ka, we'll never see cars built like this again. And I think these are just really, really neat little cars. Fantastic, small, compact, buzz around, park anywhere, economical, cheap to run, and quite characterful as well. What more do you want? But yeah, definite future classics, those two. There's the old Jag, sat here. Right, the Escort Cosy alongside it, another Ford Puma, and on the end here, a Toyota Celica. Well, let's have an overview then of the cars. Over this end of the field, there's certainly plenty of them. Bonnet up on the Merc here, showing off its supercharged engine, Focus. Let's keep an eye out for the highlights. Got a neat little MG here, the little ZS, the ZS 180. Very distinctive looking car, and there's not too many of those around. That's 20 years old now, so that's neat. Little Escort there. Let's see what else we can see. A few Escorts and Mercs down there. This is the Ford Cougar that we caught a glimpse of coming in some time ago now. Range Rover, we did see some of these driving in. S2000, we didn't see that coming in. The high revving Honda S2000. Several of the Mark II MR2s are here today. Here's that little Daihatsu, the little turbo, the GTI. What's this? Is this a Nissan Laurel? It is. Late 1980s. Let's keep going around here. There's that very shiny E38 7 Series with a few Alpina mods on it, not least a huge set of wheels. Mini. Right, let's keep going over the back here. You can see a few MX-5s. Let's see what classics we can spot around here. There's quite a few modern sporty cars, supercars, little TTs, again future collectible I'm sure. Well, MX-5, we like a bit of MX-5. Astons. DB7. These were based on the underpinnings of the Jaguar XJS. There's another Unos. R107 SL. Seen one or two of those here today. Very elegant cars. And again, beautifully made, this era of Merc. Just look at the quality of the fittings. All the way around here. Beautiful plated fittings. Really are special. Right. Okay, there's a Mitsubishi Evo running there, burbling away to itself. One of the later SLs, the R129 SL Mercedes. There's a little Panther Callista. Bonnet up on this MX-5. Oh, a BBR Turbo. This looks very similar to a car I saw yesterday at Rustival, but I could be wrong. But there was one of those down there, and there can't be too many around. No, it's not the same car apparently, but yeah, rare sighting. So to see two in a weekend is pretty good going. We've got Glen Eagles limited edition Mark 1 there. Right, some of these we saw driving them before. I can see an earlier 928 over there. Oh, that's pretty groovy. There's that Marcos Mantis. Pretty bonkers looking car. Very trim MX5 alongside it. Okay, let's keep going. Got a little Marlin kit car here. TVRs, several different TVRs. Yeah, 450 SE. Another RX-7 up the way here. Let's just keep going, looking for... There's a few stragglers over the back there that are nice. There's a 1, 2, 3 Mercedes E-Class saloon just over there. That's nice in brown. RX-7 here, another one. A game of the pop-up lamps. Very, very similar units to those on the MX-5 actually. Very, very similar in fact. Pop-up addict. Who doesn't love a pop-up headlamp? Well, clearly the safety regulators don't particularly like them, that's why they got banned. At least on new cars anyway. Right, okay, there's not much up here. I do like this Saab Turbo though, 3-door 900 Turbo, about 1983, that's a handsome fella. It's got the SE alloy wheels on it, it's a 3-door 8-valve Turbo. And the good ones of these are getting a bit rarer. This has got a few extra bits and bobs. These covers over the rear air vents on the back wings. It's got the larger, apologies for the Lambo, hope you can hear me. Yeah, it's got the larger rear sort of whale tail on the back. Some nice period brochures. Pretty sure I've got all of those back at base. Dad had one of the first 900 turbos, and I used to go with him to the Saab Owners Club meetings that used to take place at Saab Manchester, is it Deansgate, somewhere around there it was. And I always used to snaffle any of the new brochures as and when they came out. This was in the sort of the early to mid 1980s. Unfortunately I hung on to them, so cars like this were a regular feature now, and I do like these early cars with the flatter noses, the flat front to them. Yeah, it's pretty rare survivor now. There's that super little Fiat 126. How cool is that? Quite a late one with a lift-up hatchback on it. I don't think they all had that, did they? Didn't some of them just have a, like, just the engine cover that opened, but with a fixed rear window, I think? I seem to remember, could be wrong. Yeah, pretty groovy little car, I like a bit of that. There's that. Now here's that Mark II that I saw coming in before, and that's commented on how smart the interior trim looked, even from a distance. You can see these lovely rear seats, even though it's driving in. So here we get to admire them properly. The window is open, so we can have a quick peer in. It's got a 1600E or Lotus steering wheel on this one, an 8-track player with a Led Zeppelin 8-track cartridge in it. That's pretty groovy. Nice period accessory. We like a bit of that. Okay, let's carry on. We've got a Capri 280, one of the Brooklands cars, one of the very last of the classic Capris. Of course, the Capri name has been reborn, but we won't talk about that. XR3R Cabriolet, based on the Mark IV Escort. MGB Roadster just firing up its engine. And on the end there, an MGTF. This is the Jag Enthusiast Club stand, but there's nothing really here for us. Well, there's an XJS Cabriolet here, but everything else, well, you'd see most of these at any Jaguar dealer really, so I don't think we need to spend too long around here. Let's go and have a look over here. They're Lost in Healy Sprite. I'm guessing that's the Mark III, because the Mark I was the frog eye. The Mark II was this shape, but with the clip-in side window, so I'm guessing that's a Sprite Mark III, but I'm probably wrong. Little Mini for sale, very bonny, grey B, 1974 MGB GT V8. Lots of people are doing conversions on these, shoehorning V8s into MGBs, and why not, because they sound fantastic. Right, got an MGC over here, lovely off-white MGC. Mark III Triumph GT6. So that was the final evolution of the GT6. They all had the 2-litre straight 6 in them. Suspension differed on the Mark III's. Early ones had the Rotoflex suspension, later ones did not. They had like a swing spring arrangement, which I think was a bit cheaper to manufacture. We've got a Chevette HSR rally car. That's quite the thing, that is. So I'm having to rush just a little bit because I'm getting through my batteries a little bit. I don't want to get caught out. Astra, that's a rare car now. That P100 next to the P6. Not too many of those around. The earlier ones were styled after the Cortina. Then these ones, the later ones, are more Sierra based. Stags over the back row. We've got a little Rover BRM here. Honda NSX. Toyota Corolla. Triumph TR4. That's a 1964. Lovely. I love that pale yellow shade. Wolseley 1500. Very tasty in maroon. And here the super little Fiat. A few bits and bobs for sale, probably a bit later than anything I need, but it's always worth a look just in case. Right, there's that TVR Cerbera. Honda over here, the Type R. Big Merc SEC. It's not like the 140 series, I think, those Mercs. Here's that lovely 3.5 litre 635 CSI BMW. And an immaculate V12 XJS Coupe over here. There's the Sierra XR 4x4, so 4-wheel drive, V6 engine. Jet black 7 Series BMW, and next to that a jet black Audi TT. I think we saw most of the older BMWs as they arrived. There's quite a few late ones here, so I'm not really going to spend much time on those. Got a 5 Series there, the E34. Heading perilously close to the auto jumble area, but I will resist for as long as I can. This is where all those Capris were heading. Capri Club over here. Mark 3s, Capri 2s. There's the Capri 2 that introduced the hatchback, the lift-up back to the Capri range. There you go. The Mark 1s, they just had the little opening boot lid here, but it was the Mark 2 that did the sensible thing, really introduced that with a full opening rear hatch. Here is that W123 saloon. We saw the coupe. We had a look at the C123, the two-door coupe, and this is an immaculate W123 saloon. I'm really glad to get a closer look at that. Finished in brown. It's got silver and black plates. Originally it would have had reflective plates. Here's that Renault 25. The Renault 25 Monaco. That is a very unusual sight now. Last time I saw one of these, it was in France, and it popped up in the France video that I mentioned before. Yeah, don't see too many of these, and I think this is like a pre-facelift one as well. That makes it especially unusual. Okay, we'll carry on ambling over here. I think I'm in Car Club area, I'm not quite sure. There's a Porsche 928 S4, a little X19, and here is that Bedford HA base camper. Wow, lift up roof, pop out back. We're getting quite close to the commentary, but I hope you can hear me. But what a great thing, lovely little curtains as well, all very in keeping. Very similar to the HA van inside there. There's the little 4-pot engine in there. What a great little thing that is.
Speaking of flashing, Marinas haven't had a good following amongst certain TV programs.
And next to that, the Ford Zephyr 6 Mark III from 1964.
Yes, is that right?
Very eye-catching car, bigger brother to the Corsair, and of course the Cortina, which is slightly smaller again. Nodding dog on the back.
That's what I'm saying, yeah, they decided to do that. Because I suppose they were replacing the Morris Minor had their pickup truck.
Pretty wild looking car. A lot more extravagant than the Mark IV that came along later. Alright, so let's continue the hunt for classics. Here we go, a couple of great little minis. And the HC Viva, the four-door Vauxhall Viva HC that we caught a glimpse of, well, quite a while ago now. Wider banded steel wheels, but otherwise looks pretty original. I'm guessing this is quite a posh one with metallic paint. It's in lovely condition. Super clean in there. Quite a natty steering wheel's been fitted to this one, but otherwise, there's Kermit in the back on guard frog duties. Not many good ones of those left. This is the SL.
Lovely to see, the rare thing to see. Thank you, appreciate that, thank you. Right, Beetle owner? Hello. So tell me about the Beetle then. Beetle dog in tow as well?
We'll just have a very quick look at American Corner. We did see most of these cars coming in before. There goes that lovely two-door Bel Air. An extremely burbly Ford V8 pickup. And there's the Pontiac also firing up. Right, I'm on my last final battery of the day, so I'm really going to have to be picky now as to what I film. So we'll just keep the pace up. Here's that incredible Cadillac, two doors, 300 feet long, an incredible looking car that is. Cadillac DeVille two-door coupe from 1968. Some lovely badges, I just have to have a look at those.
All the bits of custom, the rack I made on the back, the ladder on the other side, and the visors off a split screen. This is why you can say that.
Love a bit of that. We've got a Chevy here, the 3100, one of the later ones. I think this is the Apache era. Cute little doggy down there. Hello. Right, here's the Bel Air wagon. We've seen this one somewhere before, possibly at Capesthorne Hall. Look at the trim on that. What an incredible oily ragger this is, but I love this. Super curvy glass as well, just like an F-Type Victor. And indeed, the big Humber Estates. Lovely pale blue Mustang over here. There's that Plymouth Prowler. Got a number of bikes are running over there. So yeah, we'll just have to have a quick whiz around and just see if there's anything interesting that we haven't yet featured here on the Old Classic Car channel. If you're watching this and you've made it this far, well, thank you very much. A big thumbs up to anyone who decides to click and watch the videos that we put out. It really is appreciated. Please give the video a like and subscribe if you haven't already, because it always helps the channel just continue to grow slowly but surely. Here's that beautiful oily ragger GMC, little half-ton truck, proper. This is a real oily ragger. But it just really suits an old truck, I think. Old pickup truck, oily, looking super original. Yeah, that's just how I like them.
These, I drove one of these.
Looks like 70s cars are the featured cars at the moment here in the arena.
Imagine a Porsche 911, because you've got these arches and you're looking down the bonnet, so it's a great drive. But yeah, it's lovely, and the fact that you're a younger owner that kind of is owning something like this. So have you learned sort of like technical stuff on this car, mechanical stuff?
Oh, well, I've always like working on things like this, so I know what I'm doing because it's quite easy compared to a lot of cars. I've done a lot of things on work with cars. All of
The best thing about this is that the stairs, you get them all nice.
you don't have to worry.
So let's move on to this class. So our runner-up as well.
These Scots were pretty unusual because they were water cooled. And that makes them quite novel really for the time. Oh, that's lovely that. I didn't see that one coming in before. Quite a rare old bike this is. You got a BTH magneto there providing the sparks. Yeah. Very tasty indeed.
if you could leave the arena nice and carefully, and we'll move on to just going to work out what our next step is. We've got the coaches. Quick first Amanda James Tate over on Thoresby Arena. Amanda James Tate over Ireland County Castle sort of area next door that went to the gourmet burger. They're going to have some cakes from Amanda James. Half an hour and we'll be back with a motorcycle. And we have, in the meantime, just popping up with our musician, singer, entertainer. I'm getting a look for anything weddings, drummers, etc. Jordan is going to be trying to use some fantastic music, some shows that are entertaining now. So half an hour, 10 to 2, we'll be back with a motorcycle.
It's vodka and coffee in it to the ice cream as well.
Fish and chips, please, mate. What are you alright? How you doing?
Quite a few cars on the move. Maybe they're going off somewhere else. I'm not quite sure. I can see that end sign in the background, and I'm going to have to stop filming because I want to make sure I take some photos of that before it disappears. Glad I got round when I did. Quite a few cars are going already, which is a bit of a surprise. Pretty neat to see this 25 though.
Rolling down here, it was creeping up. Yeah. That's just. Well, that was Jag, wasn't it?
Ooh, there's one over here I nearly missed. This multicoloured, very original looking PC Cresta. Wow, when did that come in? 600, about 3.3 litre I think the engine in these. Pretty rare car now, big brother to the Victor. Very unusual sight now. Bonnet up on the Series 3 V12 E-Type. There's the 5.3 litre engine. Single camper bank, 4 Stromberg 175 carburetors feeding it. Incredible engine, super smooth. I've just noticed this Simca over here is the TI. So this was the fairly upmarket version, I think, of the Simca 1100. And the only other time I've seen one of these was on the side of a road in France a couple of years ago. In the first France trip video I did, I screeched to a halt, pulled over, and took a fair bit of footage. So it was like a goldy sort of metallic colour, the other one we saw. Yeah, I just saw the TI badge on the back of this one, and that's what reminded me of the one that we saw a couple or so years back. Alloy wheels were standard on those. I like the Simca flaps as well, the proper mud flaps. This one looks like a really original car, to be honest. Yeah, pretty cool.
You get forming bits for engine from real.
But I asked Victor yesterday when you lot were meeting.
Here's one for the youthful assistant. He's got a bit of a penchant for elderly bicycles at the moment, but maybe this one is just a little bit too far gone, even for him.
And now we've got, this is a car which used that congregate end. Congregate Ford has been used for
An episode where they looked at these. I think they actually went to his program about them and they did one up. Yeah, lovely, brilliant, well done. Good purchase.
50 quid I paid for it, no tax, no MOT, no insurance, and then just bought the service last year, nostalgia, and just paid for it and took it straight away. But it was on fire about 3 weeks ago. The back of it, it's on fire.
Famous, of course, for British touring cars, and they sort of Tarquini. That's something you remember?
Yeah, I remember the old touring cars. Yeah, it's still my era type of thing. So I'm still.
That's what it evokes to me, and it's got all that look about it. What is it, that phrase? Was it Clarkson that said about if you're a true petrol head, you've got to have owned an Alpha? So you've done that.
I've had 3.
You've had 3. Right, so you've had 3 lifetimes of vehicle ownership then, if you've owned 3 Alphas. Yeah. Look, usual survivor, Sherrard Turbo, and I remember my dad had one as a.
Well, the first of today's completely non-essential purchases is this little dinky V8 Pilot. Sadly, they never made one in Ludlow green, so if I'm stuck for something to do one evening, I may just repaint this one. Quite a common model, but I keep meaning to buy one, but I just never seem to get around to it, so yeah, why not? And as I was flying solo today, I had free rein to go and have a look around the Auto Jumble and buy cheap old tins. There was a huge box full of old tins, and these are the ones that I grabbed. A Dunlop. What's that? Ready plug repair kit for tubeless tyres. That's quite a nice old can, a little bit battered, but kind of fits in with everything else that's in the garage, which is also fairly battered. A couple of really nice Lockheed brake fluid cans there. One small, one just a little bit taller. I don't think I've seen one of these before, but they just look great on the shelf. Little Dunlop rubber solution tin as new. That's in really nice condition. That is made in England. We like a bit of that. And finally, a Holt's penetrating oil can. So yeah, what a great little assortment of tins, all for the princely sum of £10. So anyway, I think we will start to wrap this one up. There are many gaps on the field here in front of Thoresby Hall, and I think we will add to that number. So thank you very much for watching this video. Please check out the rest of the channel while you're here. Have a look around, check out some of the other show visits. There is a version of this one from 2023 when I came here for the first time, so check that out if you haven't seen it. And yeah, there are many more videos lined up for the channel, so please keep an eye on it. Subscribe, like, comment, all that kind of thing, and there'll be loads more coming along very soon. So bye for now. Now, not perhaps the oldest car here, but this is a rare car, the Kia Magentis. The gentleman who owns this one is a keen follower of this, the old classic car channel, and also my youthful assistant's car traction channel, or one word, car traction. So please check that out. So big thanks for following both our channels, and yes, that is a rare sight now.